The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign, trusted by over 500 NFL players for their winning smiles. And broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your host, Nicole Hutchison.
Hello, Cowboys Nation. Wish I was saying Merry Christmas, but still happy holidays here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign here in the SWBC studio. I'm Nicole Hutchison alongside Aisha Morrison and Jazz Monet. Ladies, how was y'all's Christmas? Was it good?
It was cool.
It was cool? Mm-hmm. Just cool, that's it?
Watch these crazy games. Switching between NBA and NFL.
I didn't even switch this time. I had NFL on, but I barely watched it. Like, I don't know. I was focused on other things, but it was a good day.
You was more focused on the NBA stuff?
No, I wasn't watching the NBA at all. It was
understand.
weird because normally I'm like sports obsessed on Christmas, and yesterday I was like, no, I'm gonna like call loved ones and clean the house and
Love that.
different vibes.
We got on the Texans game, too, but then we heard it.
That was rough to watch,
It's very
What?
rough. It was very rough.
except
to
for
watch.
halftime.
Halftime was good. Come on, B.
Y'all
Beehive over here.
get a grip.
What?
No, it was great.
It was a Beyonce ball.
It was a good performance.
good performance.
Yes,
great
It
performance.
was a great performance. You know, you can't downplay anything.
You know who else has had a great performance this year?
CeeDee
CeeDee
Lamb.
Lamb.
See what I did there?
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb, but unfortunately, his season has come to an end. Obviously, he's been dealing with the shoulder injury, but he had more examinations and tests today. So the Cowboys PR did announce that he'll be out for the remainder of the season. He will undergo treatment and rehabilitation for his shoulder, but he will not be required to get surgery. So that's a good thing. But obviously, still praying that CeeDee Lamb does recover well. Just thoughts on the news currently.
Y'all know that one meme with Childish Gambino with Donald Glover.
No.
Well, and he has the microphone. I think he's doing stand up, and he's like,
I'm going to try to find out why you said it.
"Good." That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
I'm not familiar with the meme, but
you know what I'm talking about. What clip? What clip is it? Where's it from?
I don't know. I'm not. It sounds like something that might have happened in ATL, but the overall message is received. I do think that this is the best option for CD at this point. Of course, you hate to see it happen to him. You hate to hear that apparently his injury has progressed, according to the way that the situation.
I'm sorry, but I do have to cut you off so that people can see. I did find it. All right, bet.
Oh no, that's pre ATL. I don't know what that's from. That probably is from his stand up.
What you got?
But You hate to hear that apparently the injury has progressed because watching him go in the game so often these past few weeks, that's what you're afraid of. So while that's bad news, it is good news that he doesn't have to have surgery. He has had a heck of a year, and him pushing through this injury has gotten a lot of people to realize that he is a tough player, that he does have some leadership ability, which is good because I feel like a lot of Cowboys Nation has wasted several seasons in a row just disliking this man for what I don't think are very good reasons.
Yeah.
But and it's like, okay, it took an injury for people to get it, but they're finally getting it. That, CeeDee Lamb is an incredible asset to the Dallas Cowboys. So all that stuff is good, but I'm glad that they caught it before something terrible happened, that he's shutting it down for the season, and that all it's going to take is apparently an off season for him to be back to 100%.
Yeah, I agree. I even tweeted out during the game, whereas I thought it was admirable.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people was commenting at me like, oh, you know what, it's an AC joint and it can't get worse.
Yes, he can.
And it can't get this and this. And I understand that there's like some details in that as far as like the limitations and stuff like that, but the amount of pain pain is not good, period. And the amount of pain that he was in playing through is not healthy. It's not even healthy to how your brain functions and how your brain deciphers pain. So I'm okay with them shutting him down. And it also gives the guys that, we maybe haven't gotten a great look at. We got 2 games, division rivals, Jonathan Mingo. You're going to get a chance maybe to look at Ryan Flournoy. Just get some of these guys some snaps and see what they got as well. You only got 2 games left, man. So you got to make the best of it at this point.
I think, and with just the whole situation of just having 2 games left, you're not going to the playoffs. why even put him out there?
Yeah,
and
he's your
risk,
future.
He's your future.
He's your
here.
future.
But CeeDee Lamb, I mean, we've talked about it before. The fact that he's just such a competitor naturally. So it says a lot about him, like you kind of mentioned, and about his competitive spirit. But again, like, you don't want to risk anything worse happening to him. So certainly glad that they shut that down. But what does this mean for Cooper Rush? Because it's kind of like what you mentioned about Michael Parsons. Now that he's on a contract year, and if they don't bring him back, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
It might make things more interesting for Cooper Rush, just because even though Cooper Rush didn't target CeeDee as much as people thought he should, CeeDee at least did demand enough attention to where other targets were either open or not, double covered or anything like that. So what we might see now is that there are some other receivers that Cooper Rush used to be able to depend on that are now getting more attention from the defense. It could make things kind of interesting from that aspect to see how that impacts his decision making, his time to throw, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think that it started a little bit last week, if you want to be honest. Obviously, CeeDee had that drive where he was just dominant. He had spots in that game in the first half in particular where he, just was unguardable. They didn't really have anyone that could handle him. However, we did see Cooper Rush spread the ball around tremendously. He got the ball to Jake Ferguson. He got the ball to Brandon Cooks. Ryan Flournoy had a catch. I mean, I don't know if Cavante Turpin hit the back. Yeah, a lot of receivers touched the ball last week. I think you continue that trend of spreading the ball around, not giving guys, clearly teams are going to know if CeeDee Lamb's not out there, they're going to be able to, the other guys are going to have to earn it this last couple games, depending on how seriously these teams take these two games. They're going to have to earn the respect of the guys across from them. So for me, continue to spread the ball around, be multiple, and don't give people an opportunity to, get a beat on what you're trying to do.
Who do you feel like were you about to say something? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was about to ask you a question myself.
Go ahead.
I was just curious if y'all thought, okay, if you're the Eagles defense and CeeDee Lamb not going to be out there, so do you stack the box more and try to stop Rico Dowdle from having a game? Do you put more attention on Brandon Cooks or Cavante Turpin? What do you turn to in this offense?
You don't.
I feel like you're about to ask something similar.
I was gonna kind of say it brings that element of surprise. Does it kind of a little bit, just because CeeDee Lamb does demand so much attention to where you don't know. Of course, you've seen good things from Jalen Tolbert. You've seen good things, obviously, from Brandon Cooks, Cavante Turpin with his speed. But you really don't know what you have until you're constantly having to find that connection or with other guys or seeing them get a little bit more opportunities. So that's I don't know. I think
so many questions.
They gonna play. Who over there? Vic Fangio.
This might be the most.
Vic Fangio gonna play them straight up. As a matter of fact, he might be more aggressive. Because
so what does that look like?
What does it look like is they play their base, which is for them. I mean, they play cover one, cover two. They're going to play split safety. They're going to make you work for it. They're going to make you be methodical down the field. I think that it doesn't change. It does change, to y'all's point. It changes okay, who's their safety? Is it not Blankenship? Is it Blankenship? Reed Blankenship might be a little bit more aware of what's going on CeeDee Lamb's side of the field or whatever the case may be. You take that away. I'm just playing my part. Like I said, the guys are going to have to earn the respect of those guys. Because CeeDee warrants you bracketing him. None of the guys that are out there, with respect to every single one of them, warrant a double team at this point. So you just play straight up. I don't.
You don't think he's at all?
This is one of the best coverage teams in NFL. They can play straight up man. They can play straight up man. They're going to throw different fronts at you. Their front seven can get home. I don't think that it changes much of what they're going to do towards you. They're just going to make you earn everything, which is what they were already going to do in the first place, because that's kind of what a Vic Fangio's defense is like. So I don't think it's going to change a whole bunch, but I do think that it's easier for them. Which sucks, because it does. Because having to account for him moving in and out of the slot and some of the stuff he does, he took over at points in that game. Yes. And no one could defend him. So it's limiting, but like I said, I do think if they stay multiple, that might keep them on their toes. Keep Philly's defense on their toes in some way. Maybe you can win that fight.
So who has more pressure, do you feel like? Because I was going to ask this question about the secondary, but I want to ask who has the most to prove offensively in the receiver room?
in
for
the receiver
Cowboys.
room.
For the Cowboys now.
Who has the most to
Who has the most to prove?
That's an interesting question because having something to prove relates to not only abilities but also expectations. So there are some people who I don't think we've seen their full ability, but I also don't hear a lot when it comes to what people expect from them. So my natural instinct would be to say Jalen Tolbert, just because I think he's got more in his tank in terms of what he can do that he hasn't shown us. But like the general population doesn't seem to really talk about him much when they talk about people they expect to step up. I think people will probably want to see Kevontae Turpin used more when it comes to the most creative plays we've seen from the Cowboys offense, especially when it comes to like wildcat formation and stuff like that. We've seen Kevontae Turpin used in some interesting ways, whether it's just things we didn't expect Mike McCarthy to call or things we were like, I didn't know Kevontae Turpin could do that, right?
Yeah.
So my brain instantly goes to those two. Not that they haven't been doing enough, but just when I think of where there's room for guys in the receiver room to do more, that's who I think of.
That's a good one. Turpin actually had no receiving, what's it called? No catches.
Last game, yeah. I
Yes.
think he had the one out of the backfield. No, did he have anything at the backfield?
No, he had no catches.
Yeah, he was quiet.
He actually hasn't had a lot of catches in general. It's just that when he does have them,
they're
they're
impactful.
impactful. And that's why I'm like, yeah, I would like to see him be used more. But
Yeah.
when he is used.
Well, that's because also, I mean, this was still a time, week 10, when they last played Philly. They were still kind of figuring things out offensively. And that was Cooper Rush's first start still. So it's kind of like, you got to look at it a little differently, so to speak, just because there are different points of the season. My bad. I did not mean to cut you off.
No, you didn't cut me off. I was waiting. I thought you was gonna give us yours.
Oh,
yours.
okay, my bad. I'm gonna go. Who has the most to prove? I think I'm gonna stick with. No, I'm not gonna go with Tolbert because I feel like he's been called upon in big games and big moments. I feel like he's proved himself. However, he could obviously there's still room to grow and still more to show. But that rhymed.
It did.
Oh my God.
But no, dang, I'm gonna go. We've seen Kevontae Turpin. I feel like everybody has a lot to prove in that receiver room.
I mean,
But
Mingo, like,
yeah, but he hasn't been targeted that much, so it's kind of like that connection still hasn't built. I'm gonna go Jalen Brooks.
Okay.
that's
I'm
fair.
gonna go Jalen Brooks and Ryan Flanoy. We saw a little bit of Flanoy last week, but I feel like once the opportunities come, you'll see a little bit more from him. I think I'm gonna go Ryan Flanoy for now.
That's fair. I mean, late round pick.
Yeah.
Might be some coaching changes. We never know what happens. Like, guys got to show their self valuable, which sucks, but it's the truth. For me, I think it's Jalen Tolbert. I was very high on Jalen Tolbert coming out the draft. I don't think he hasn't proved himself. What I think he's done, I think he's proved that he is a capable wide receiver in this NFL, which is what we were waiting on. Now I'm trying to see if he's going to be able to, with a CeeDee Lamb out, can you be a wide receiver too at the very least? Can you be a steady, reliable? Because when you look across the NFL, like some of the best receiver combos, they have a 1 and a 2. And that 2 is valuable because that 2 is going to make you pay if that 1 is bracketed. So you want to see, is the Cowboys are clearly looking, that's why they brought in Mingo. They are looking for a number 2. That's why they brought in Brandon Cooks. They are looking for someone to pair with him, with CeeDee Lamb. And when you look at Tolbert's draft profile, there were similarities in the player. The concentration, how they adjust to the ball, the attitude, all those things. We're still like, I think Jalen Tolbert's made some clutch grabs in key spots. And we've seen his improvement. Is he a number wide receiver 2? Or do we need to see Mingo have more snaps? Or do we need to go draft a wide receiver? Or do you need someone to pair with CeeDee Lamb? And I think whatever Tolbert is able to show you here soon is going to be important going into the next part of the year because we're 3 years in now, and we need to know, are you going to be someone that people honor? I can tell you what Philly's going to do. They're going to press. They're going to try to make these guys get off a press. This is a big game for Jalen Tolbert to show that he can get off a press, that he can accelerate past the defender, and I'm just looking for that. So for me, it's going to be Jalen Tolbert.
So with no, you about to say more? Go ahead.
I have another question. I'm sorry, I got so many questions today.
Go ahead.
I'm just wondering because, like, we're talking about who's going to be the wide receiver 2, right? Considering everything that's happened this season with Dak being out and just Brandon Cooks being out for a while, do we think that these guys actually know what's expected of a wide receiver too? Like, has there been enough consistency in the offense and in the play calling, like for them to know, like, oh, if I want to be considered a wide receiver too, this is what I need to do?
I think. Oh,
One more time.
I get what she's asking. Ask again.
Like, basically, with all the
Do you feel like they
inconsistency,
know?
yeah,
Okay.
do I think that they know? Because sometimes Mike McCarthy will say stuff like that, and my first question is like, do they know that you're thinking this?
Yeah.
Like when he said about Rico Dowdle, and he was like, well, the next thing Rico Dowdle needs to do is step his game up and become an every down back, and I'm like, is he just choosing not to do that, or does he not know what's involved with that?
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
And the reason why I ask is because, like, y'all have been athletes before. I think we all are familiar with the experience of, like, sometimes you just don't know until you know. Like, sometimes you think you understand something, but it's not until you've been, like, really been put in a situation where you have to face it, whether it's like, oh, I actually have to train harder than I thought. I actually have to watch more film than I thought. Oh, I actually have to go harder than I thought I did. And it's not until you get to that point where you thought, okay, I thought that was my limit, but actually there's more, and I do need to do more.
Catching your drift now.
Yeah. I mean, to answer your question, multiple guys in that room have been a wide receiver too, so they know what it's called for. CeeDee Lamb, he was a wide receiver two to Amari Cooper. He know what it calls for. A lot of time, wide receiver twos are number ones in weight, or they're guys that think that they're number ones, but they're not number ones yet. And really, as far as what they're being asked to do, I mean, if this guy's getting bracketed, it's no different than in basketball, right? If there's a double team, somebody's open.
Yeah,
You're the
Get
guy.
open.
You're the guy. You're supposed to be the guy that people still have to honor, or you make people pay for bracketing the other guy. Wide receiver twos, black on the outside. They do other things. They drive guys out of, like, they pull guys out of plays. Like, wide receiver twos are, to me, just as valuable. I don't think that there's a difference in value. I think it's a difference in
their role.
in just their role, I guess you want to say. But Brandon Cooks has been a wide receiver too in multiple places, and we've talked about the mentorship that he gives to these guys.
And he's been good at it too.
Yes, I believe that they know what the job is. I agree with you that the job probably does get more complicated given the rotation of injuries and all the different stuff. I understand that your offensive line being injured and guys getting hurt, your quarterback being injured, that might change your play calling. That might affect the plays that you are able to run.
And I think that's what I was wondering more than anything.
Yeah,
if
I
that
agree.
inconsistency kind of changed how people were looking at themselves and what was expected of them, to where they just. I think sometimes it's easier to step up into those roles when there's more consistency, and when there's not consistency, I think there's just like, a lot more questions.
No, that makes sense, especially for someone like Tolbert, who's looking for where he fits, and he's like, well, dang, like, I don't know where I fit now. Then you're right. Factor in the fact that Brandon Cooks got injured. I thought that was an opportunity for him to take over that wide receiver 2 role. And again, just like we were talking about the tight ends, it's been open. Ain't nobody stepped up and taken it. So, love him to death. But come on with it, boss.
Yeah, well, all right. Going to be interesting to see how that plays out on Sunday. Noon kickoff. With the
Bye.
Cowboys.
Oh, yeah,
Cowboys.
they did flex. They did flex.
Flexed it.
They flexed
Noon
it.
kickoff Central Time. Remember that. All right, we're going to take our first break here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys honor the legacy of Bob Lilly through the Bob Lilly Award presented by Ryan, awarded to the current Cowboy who demonstrates the highest level of achievement, sportsmanship, dedication, and leadership. Cast your vote now and help choose the player who best embodies the qualities that made Bob Lilly one of the greatest Cowboys of all time. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Bob Lilly and cast your vote today.
Go ahead, cast your vote. Welcome back into Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign here in the SWBC studio. All right, we talked receivers. Now we got to switch gears because I still want to talk about the Cowboys defense facing this Eagles offense, and they've been hit with some injuries too as of late. You got Jalen Hurts. Right as of now, the current update is that he's still out with a concussion. Kenny Pickett out for an injury with the ribs, into his ribs. So now the Eagles have signed Ian Book, former Saints quarterback drafted in 2021 in the 4th round. Spent some time with Philly, but they also claimed him. They claimed him off the waivers in 2022. He was eventually let go of his job and brought back today. Thoughts on Ian Book?
I think if Nick Sirianni don't have no thoughts, we shouldn't be expected to have
Stop.
any.
Stop. Childish.
That Ian Book is just it's just an emergency. I mean, we're gonna get a lot of Kenny Pickett. At least it's gonna be entertaining. Say that. I mean, obviously concussions are serious. You don't want to see a guy go down with a concussion. Jalen has been dealing with it for the week. It sounds like it's kind of late in the week and he's still not practicing. That typically is a sign as far as that. So I do expect for Kenny Pickett to get the start. Just me assuming. If that's the case, Philly's offense is already really like mixed safe. So I mean, I don't expect for them doing a whole bunch of changing.
They might not. I think the one thing that they might change, that it seems like it would behoove them to change considering how that last game ended for them, maybe a little bit less zone read. But outside of that, like...
Yeah, probably not as much. I mean, Kenny got some type of like long legs, but he don't be doing... He don't be doing.
And I don't know if like having this week knowing you're probably going to take that spot, and then technically you don't. Like he might not know. Once again, so many questions.
What are their playoff standings?
Right now, they can clinch a spot if they beat the Cowboys, or if they lose to the Cowboys, they have to beat Atlanta.
Okay. Because I just wonder if you're at this point, like how safe they're going to play.
They need to play the Cowboys.
They need a win.
They need to beat the Cowboys.
Okay, well, tater tots. Well, we're going to see them. We're going to see them come out and run that ball. You understand me?
Yeah.
They do that a lot. Heavy play action with them as well. And all those things are going to help Kenny Pickett. Watched him a little bit during his time with the Steelers. Very inconsistent. Has crazy arm talent, but I just felt like he couldn't get settled there. Like I never saw everything match for him. So Philly's offense has a way of really settling quarterbacks, really calming them and how they play. And I felt like the little bit of time he got to play last week, even so, he was like, oh, okay, he seems under control.
You think that even with how they've looked this season? Because there's even been a lot of criticism of Jalen Hurts and how he's been looking at the position.
He didn't look under control. Their offense is under control. With that run game that they have, with the ability like to run the football, how they're able to, it should not be that stressful.
The running, yes.
But you're talking about their ability to pass. You're talking about their passing offense. I mean, it's the Kellen Moore offense.
Right. But I guess my thing is like the things that Jalen Hurts struggled with are the things that Kenny Pickett is going to have to rely on. Kenny Pickett's not going to be able to basically split running duties with Saquon Barkley, right? Like Saquon and Jalen Hurts, if I'm correct, have the most yards out of any quarterback and running back duo in the league right now. That's not a trend that's going to continue with Kenny Pickett. So it's like, while there might not be a lot of changes in terms of the game plan, what does that mean for the expectations? If you have the same plan for Jalen Hurts that you have for Kenny Pickett, and you know Kenny Pickett is not Jalen Hurts in terms of what he can do with his legs, then I just feel like that could lead to some issues for the offense.
No, I agree.
Some wrinkles.
Oh, I agree that
Well, it makes it easier for the Cowboys defense too,
Absolutely.
having to not worry about a quarterback who has the mobility like Jalen Hurts. I mean,
which is where the Commanders capitalized.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. As far as like the run action and things like that, obviously they do rely heavily on their play action. Maybe they just put more of those duties, like some of those carries that they're giving Jalen Hurts in those games, they just give to Saquon. I do agree with you that if they're not going to be using their RPO and things like that, then they probably gonna toss the ball around a little bit more. Hitches, crossers, lots of freaking crossers, slants. Holy killing!
Yeah,
I think that would actually like work to their advantage.
I think
just
to Phillies.
Yeah, if they were to do what you're saying. I guess what I'm thinking about is the fact that I listened to Kellen Moore today, and he was basically like, "No, we're gonna go with the same game plan." I'm like, cool.
Which is, in theory, it might work because, like, very similar to Philly, very similar to the 49ers, how we look at their situation, their system, quote unquote. Philly is like that as well. It's like, I'm not gonna sit up here and act like you can plug and play anybody. I'm not gonna disrespect what they do there. However, it is set up for your quarterback not to fail. So if they do, sister.
So, okay, how different, if not, it's fine, but how different or not different does this offense look with Kenny Pickett at quarterback to Jalen Hurts? What does Kenny do well that Jalen does not?
That's a good question.
What does he do well?
What does Kenny Pickett do well that Jalen Hurts does not?
I would just go off the strength of I think their arm talent's just a tad bit better. Don't think the accuracy. I think the accuracy is about the same.
Okay.
That's a good point.
But I think his ability to deliver the ball from different spots is a little better in that regard. That's it. Yeah. I don't have nothing else nice.
Isn't the arm talent though good enough for them to rely on that? Because like you said, they do use play action a lot, but they always have that threat of the zone read because Jalen Hurts can just pick up the ball and keep it whenever he decides to, pretty much. That's not something that Kenny Pickett should do. Like he can do it, but that's not something that he should do when it comes to what he's good at and what he's not. So it's like they might want to lean even more on that play action. So it's like, yeah, that arm strength may work to their advantage, or will the lack of accuracy cause even more issues with him relying on his arm?
Low key, Kellen might be breakdancing.
Stop it. Why are you like this?
He might be excited. We know this person. With respect, we've been around him for. We was here with him for a little second. He liked to pass that ball.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to be messy or nothing, but obviously there's been several reports, several things this year about Jalen Hurts and what the teammates think about his passing ability and
what do we need to work on passing?
If Kenny Pickett is willing to toss that ball around and lacks mobility, we could see them come out. I know we think they're going to run the ball and rely on that, but Kellen might be
willing but not able. If he's willing but not able, if he got the arm but not the accuracy.
I don't think his
feel
accuracy
like a preacher right now.
No, you're right. Like, but they might believe in it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It is like a kind of like a toss up. I would think that they want to be safe, run the ball, get out of there healthy as possible, going into the playoffs, whatever. But they might be like, Kenny, toss that thing around the yard, boss. They might.
And so what does that mean for the Cowboys team?
I mean, they held up all right last week. I mean, I think this passing offense that they're about to go up against, if I'm not mistaken, Goddard's out, yeah? Goddard?
Sure. Nope.
He's still in there?
They don't have him on here.
Yeah, I think he's on IR. I think he's on IR.
All right, we're about to double check that right now. That's why we have
I gotta stop bringing
the
stuff
injury
up.
report. No, it's
You got the injury report? I
really
don't,
fine.
but
Yeah, I got it right here.
I can look up Goddard.
I think he's been out for a minute.
Here we go. He is not on here.
I'm screaming.
No, ma'am. But it's fine. Let me keep double checking. Keep going.
See if he's on. See if he's on. Anyway, Cowboys get a little bit of a break there. If he is not playing the way that they use Dallas Goedert when he is healthy with the tight end screens, the traps, like little ways he's able to squeeze and help out their passing offense is interesting.
Yes.
He's on IR. That's what
They
I
placed
thought.
him on there a few weeks ago.
Tracking. So, I mean,
I don't know why it's not showing up, but keep going.
no. It's fine. I mean, you said how's that going to affect the Cowboys? I think that the Cowboys' passing defense took a step forward last week. I felt like we definitely got to find out what's going on with Owarie and make sure he was good. I thought that he was steady in that game before he got injured. They're gonna have to have that same approach with this team. They do have the ability to out physical you.
That's where it comes down to the safeties, though. I mean, you guys got guys like Donovan Wilson, who took the step up as far as like passing defense. So when you have help like that, it certainly brings an extra confidence to that secondary for sure. All right, how do you slow down Saquon Barkley?
I mean, I think they'll be able to focus on him a bit more if Jalen Hurts is not in the game. That's a big if. Once again, so many questions. So how do you slow him down? I think just
My answer was you can't, but
I was thinking back to the last time we had this conversation, and I think that was my answer too. It was you can't. You got to focus on other things.
Yeah.
Especially considering the fact that they're using him as a receiving threat now. I think the last time the Cowboys played the Eagles, that they were just kind of starting to experiment with that, and now he seems to have gotten comfortable in that role. So especially when you consider all of the roles that he can take on that offense, running the ball, receiving the ball, pass pro. We might not be able to slow him down. It might be a situation where he's slowed down just intrinsically because of what's going on with the offense. Like, let's say Jalen Hurts is not back.
That's fair.
Then that might affect his yardage just because. And all the Cowboys just need to do is have a sound run defense and not necessarily focus on him. And I think that's probably the best that they should hope for at this point. But yeah, I don't. Even in the last game, it's like you look at what happened with Saquon Barkley towards the end of the game. It didn't really feel like all of a sudden the Commanders just got good. It felt like, oh, Jalen Hurts isn't going to be in the game, so we know who to look for on rundowns. We know who to do. It was like less for them to worry about. And so they were able to be a little bit more impactful just because of the circumstances.
Yeah. I mean, as far as the RPO thing, I think you're right as far as the Cowboys being able to focus. My bad. Focus more on Saquon Barkley. When I took a look at them this morning, I was looking at their offensive line, how their offensive line operates. Like I said before, you do miss a Dallas Goedert, specifically for some of the things that they do, bringing him behind the formation and trapping. They use him in a lot of, and by trap, I mean like you just kind of wall off people. I can't draw it visually like Christy does. But you do miss some of his blocking. Lane Johnson, this offensive line for them is very strong. If you want to find a weak point, it might be the center Jurgens, but I don't think that he is a weak point. They hold each other together pretty well. Yeah. However, when they're trying to run over the left side, Lane Johnson is age gets everybody. And I'm not saying he still looks phenomenal. Yeah. He still looks phenomenal. He drives me nuts with being able to being off the snap the way that he be being off the snap, but it's legal. Everybody says it's legal, so I'm not going to fuss about it. But, yeah, him getting out in space hasn't been as efficient on that right side as it was before. So maybe Dallas can attack there. I really am curious to see how Dallas deals with Saquon as a receiver, as you mentioned, Jazz, because we've talked about it for several weeks. That's given them some issues. I thought they defended that better last week. He is somebody that can really hurt you in the open field, coming out the backfield. Sometimes they use him in the dang slot. Like, what's happening here? Yeah. So I'm really curious to see if Donovan Wilson is someone that, is going to be involved in that run defense side of things. You can't have light boxes against these people. They're going to literally torture you on the ground.
Yeah, no, I think sacking the box is absolutely the thing to do, especially if Hurts is not in the game.
Yeah, like I agree with you. I think, and I guess very early we're going to find out if they look at stacking the box as disrespect to Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
Because they might start tossing that thing. Like, because of the situation, you are going to have to wait for information. So this game might not really start coming to fruition until maybe midway through the first, start of the second, where it's like, oh, okay, that's what you're doing. Oh, okay,
one
that's
thing
what
we
you're
know,
doing.
though, is that Zimmer is willing to adjust.
Yeah, I agree.
And he was very open about that in his press conference. So at least if they do have to wait on information, they'll get it, and the defense can do the right thing once they do get that information. Might end up being another good game for Maris Louisville. Like, it might be a few people who have to come into play to account for what the Eagles might throw at the Cowboys.
Yeah, when you talk about him using Saquon as a receiving threat, though, they haven't had to use him too much as of late. I think he only had like 9 catches in the past 6 games. But that's obviously because he's such a threat on the ground, and they really didn't necessarily need to. So it kind of, that's more so my question. Do you feel like the Cowboys do you see that the Eagles will possibly use him a little bit more when they know that the Cowboys have had struggles with running backs that are used in the passing game?
Possibly.
As of late.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like we said, to take some stress off of Kenny Pickett. I mean, they have so many weapons in their disposal. John Dotson, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith. I mean, they might look at what the Cowboys were able to do this past week as a secondary and feel maybe a little threatened by that, or they might call your bluff.
Yeah.
Like it's a difficult thing when you don't know if a team is starting their quarterback, because to your point earlier, it really does alter like what they typically look like, the way you game plan against them. I wonder what the Cowboys are thinking right now. They're probably going back to Steelers tape to look at Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And to your point, it's like, although he's only had so many catches, it's him being used as a threat that's throwing off the defense, because it's like he'll have 1 catch, but he'll like go out as a receiver, like run a route, like maybe 15, 20 times in a game and only get targeted a couple times, only get one catch. So that's the thing. Like, even beyond the catches, it's like, what kind of looks are the Cowboys going to get? So while I'm not sure how often he'll get targeted, to your point, in terms of actually, like catching the ball against the Cowboys defense and the secondary having to worry about him or anything like that. But in terms of Kellen Moore just being like, okay, let me just set this up to make them have to think a little bit harder about what's going to happen. I think that's something that might happen. That's something that they've started doing a little bit more often. But I mean, if they are in a place where the Cowboys are just like, okay, we're just gonna stack the box and test Kenny Pickett's accuracy, then yeah, absolutely, I feel like we're gonna see a few more actual targets to Barkley.
Yeah. Think they might blitz a little? You think that Zimmer might bring the house more? You think he might?
I mean,
try to pressure him early.
Pickett's lack of mobility, like, why not? Like, not only lack of mobility, but even with it being that he's still working on chemistry with their top targets. Like, he said himself that there were some things late in the game where Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown or Devontae had an understanding that he didn't have. And that was something they ended up having to talk about after the game. So it's like, if those things aren't 100% ironed out, then, whatever you can do to fluster him, to impact the communication, to really test his ability to stay calm under pressure as a backup quarterback might work to your advantage.
Oh, Lord, we're going to see Nick Sirianni acting a fool on the sideline.
Absolutely.
You know he's going to act a fool.
I'm excited.
You seen that he got into it with Zach Ertz?
Yeah.
Grow up. Grow up.
And then they asked him, they were like, why did you feel the need to apologize? And he was like, I don't want to talk about that. It's
Bye.
Like, so you will like brace up against somebody in public, but when people are like, well, so you apologize? I don't want to talk about it.
I'm tired of them.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. It pains me to say this. This is a really good football team.
Oh, yeah.
Philly is a very good team. What Vic Fangio has done with that defense, they have so many young players, and he's gotten them to come together and play the way that they play together, and then also too on the offensive side of the ball. You look at the film, you see improvements in Kellen Moore. I'm very critical of Kellen Moore. We dealt with him for a long time. But when you look at some of the things that he's doing, you even mentioned the fact that, with Saquon, just the threat of him, motioning him, doing those things, it just, you see maturity in his play calling, and I give it to him.
I'd actually been wondering if Saquon's presence had been kind of making Kellen Moore look better than he would have looked without Saquon.
On that note, we got to go. We're going to take our second break here on Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign. We'll be right back.
When you're on the field, you know what it takes to lead your team and play with confidence. But that confidence shouldn't just stop at game time. It should follow you off the field, too. Join over 500 NFL players who trust Invisalign, the #1 doctor-recommended clear aligner brand. Ready to take the first step towards a smile you'll love? Visit Invisalign.com/NFL and find a doctor near you today. Transform your smile and take your confidence to the next level, both on the field and off.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Golf Wang by Tyler the Creator in collaboration with the Dallas Cowboys is now available at select pro shops and online. Score unique apparel and accessories at a pro shop near you or log on to shop.dallascowboys.com, a Fanatics experience.
Okay,
right.
Tyler the Creator, coordinator with...
He is indeed a creator of music, of fashion, of
Jazzy,
content.
you like Tyler the Creator?
I
Jazzy, you like
do.
Tyler the Creator?
Other Jazzy.
Jazzy.
Just kidding. Yeah,
She said
I
yeah.
thought maybe she did. Okay, yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Interesting.
And for those watching, now y'all know we are not the same person.
I'm screaming.
Y'all, I want to just
That's funny.
say this, and I'm going to keep repeating this because I feel like it's necessary for the people to know. Rico Dowdle is 97 yards away from 1,000 yards on the season rushing yards. If he eclipses this mark on Sunday, he'll be the first undrafted player to reach 1,000 rushing yards in Cowboys history, and I'm going to keep saying it all week long because we're going to hope that
What
he
an
does this.
accomplishment.
That'd be
If he
dope.
I want him to get
I
that.
think he'll
really
get
do.
it. I think he can get it.
I hope so.
This
This
next
week?
Huh? Let me see.
What do you think this week?
Basically a 100-yard game for him this week. I think I feel like I said this about another game where I was like, he could. That actually might have been last week when I was like, he could, because I knew what they might bring in terms of run defense, and they definitely brought it, right? He was dealing with a lot, and they adjusted, though. It didn't really do a lot for him in terms of yards, but they did adjust, and he ended up seeing a little bit more success than I think people expected. So I would say if they continue building on that and actually have a plan in place, and I'm not saying that they didn't, it just felt like they didn't this past week. It felt like, him going out to the outside and to the edges more was kind of like okay, I thought I could stay between the tackles, and now I know that I can't, so we're just going to try something else. And so I think if they actually plan for that this week, we could. I'm not saying it's likely or that it will happen, but I don't think it's so out of the realm of possibility that we should just write it off.
That's real.
I'm glad that you said that because, baby, they was thumping him last week. That's what it was.
Majorly.
Getting to the second level was very difficult. Like
Did it happen?
The times that he did, he probably wish he hadn't. Because Cowboys was hitting, they were too.
Yes.
The Buccaneers were as well. And Levante David was like, y'all forgot about me? I still play linebacker here. But, no, I mean, the Phillies defense, one thing that stands out to me, obviously they got those hams on the interior. Milton, I think Jalen Carter, Davis. They have so many guys up at the front, but those linebackers, Nakobe Dean and Zach Bond, to me, have become one of my favorite linebacker tandems in the NFL. They're so fun, the way they fly to the ball, and the Philly secondary as well. Darius Slay is getting an injection of youth with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean out there. Very physical, rangy guys. Like, these guys in the secondary can cover, but they also are not afraid to come downhill and tackle. This is going to be a test for the Cowboys' offensive line. I'm sure we'll get, I don't know if we have any more information yet, but I saw that Austin Richards' practice window, his 21-day practice window opened. We'll see if he's going to get some rotation at left tackle this week or whatever the case may be. But yeah, this is an offensive line. Defensive line rather, that can get upfield, but they also are very disciplined. They're very disciplined. So, yeah, I think Rico can do it. He gonna have to work for pretty much every yard he gets. This offensive line is gonna have to really pop off the ball.
It's gonna be another test for him.
Absolutely. We're gonna dive more into that tomorrow, but we have to finish today's episode with an edition of We Listen and We Don't Judge.
Oh my God. Okay.
Secondary edition.
Secondary edition.
Okay.
It can be Cowboys or Eagles.
Oh, okay.
We listen and we don't judge.
Yeah,
Who
easy.
wants to go first?
I'll go.
I call not it. Okay, go.
Okay. Are we gonna say it or we just give our
Oh
thoughts?
yeah, my bad.
Okay.
We listen and we don't judge.
I saw Andrew Booth at practice today, focusing on some very specific things. I think he's gonna have a couple of standout plays.
Okay.
This weekend.
Okay.
We
listen and we don't judge. Listen, I love the Dallas secondary down. But baby, if I could have me some Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell's the best corner in last year's draft. Just amazing player. I might give somebody away for a bag of potato chips for Quinyon Mitchell.
We listen and we don't judge.
What you want me to say?
I'm gonna say Deron Bland gonna have another interception today. Sunday.
Muffin. Yeah, probably.
He's gonna have an interception on Sunday.
Okay.
I'll take it.
We listen and we don't judge.
And we don't judge.
We don't judge. We don't do it.
Y'all can judge me. I don't care.
No judgment.
I don't care.
Don't judge me here.
Some of these people can get pushed off for Quinyon Mitchell.
The door. She's gonna use it in just a few. All right. We all are. Because it's time to go. On that note, it has been fun. Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Invisalign. For Aisha Morrison, Jazz Monet, I'm Nicole Hutchison. We'll be back here tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!